Hi, and welcome to Week 5 on Employee Development and Retention. I wanted to start this week's lecture by showing you a short video from the Wall Street Journal. It's about Volcom and how they created an in-house education program for their employees to help them develop the company.
So we live and breathe what Volcom represents. And it's really that was one of the reasons we started the company, was to build this creative atmosphere that was supporting team riders, into a business.
With its rebellious attitude and youth against establishment credo, Volcom has built a strong following among the skate, snow, and surf crowd it aims to clothe. But the $400 million publicly traded company has learned it has to balance the interests of the kids on the half pipe as well as analysts on Wall Street.
For us, our authenticity and whether we're able to perform as a company go hand in hand. Once we lose our authenticity, I think our shareholders will be disappointed in returns. We do everything with the board rider in mind, or that person who wants to live that lifestyle.
Volcom prides itself on hiring employees with a passion for action sports, but many of its employees, and even some of its executives, lack college diplomas.
I've been pretty much right out of high school straight into Volcom, and this is where I've been, this is what I've learned, and the people who I surround myself with are, my teachers,
After earning his executive MBA, Hobie Darling helped create an in-house educational series called Volcom University for employees who lack formal higher education.
So I think one of the great things about the EMBA programs and the part-time MBA programs is you do go to school on traditionally a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you immediately get to employ that knowledge on the Monday you get back to work. EMBA actually played a huge part in what we do at Volcom U, specifically in a couple of the different classes that we do. We run a Volcom MBA program, which is our condensed MBA program. It's basically as if you were going to take your first year of your MBA program and condense it into about 25 hours of coursework. We have Goldman Sachs come in, we have Wachovia come in, now Wells Fargo, come in and talk about corporate finance from a theoretical level and from what they're seeing. We also will have our CFO or our VP of Finance or myself running strategic development come in and say, okay, that's great, that's the theoretical, this is how it works at a Goldman Sachs level. Now let's take that back to how does this work within Volcom.
For Volcom, it's a way to remain competitive in a still shaky retail market. The company has been hit hard by the drop in consumer spending. Today, its stock price is trading at under $20, a drop from its 2005 IPO share price of $26.
This is a long-term investment in our people, in our company. Think about Volcom University and we think about the internal education. One of the biggest things we think about around that is we have a 5-year goal within this company, which is to essentially double revenue and return to operating margins that are between 15 and 20%.
It's a much tougher environment to even do business in now, particularly coming out of the recession. It's much more competitive. So we've got to have, our team in here has to be as sharp as possible. We want the strongest people available in each of our departments, and having a program to be able to help them in their career here just makes a lot of sense.
Volcom looks like a pretty great place to work, and so they're able to hang on to their employees, especially their top performers. The news can come as a very unpleasant surprise if you're a manager and you discover that one of your top performers is leaving to take a job with one of your competitors. Let's say that you learn that the employee had long wanted to move into a higher level position, but he lacked the skills and education that your company policy required for that position. So when offered a similar job without that particular string attached, the employee jumped at the chance. How do managers get blindsided by great employees leaving? It's often because they never had any significant career development discussions with the employee, and as a result had no idea what the employee wanted. If the manager had known the employee's goal and what stood in the way, he could easily have helped the employee develop that skill. This is according to Beverly Kay, a management consultant in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and co-author of Love 'Em or Lose 'Em, Getting Good People to Stay. That's a great book. She's also worked with executives, and she says that if you don't ask, you risk losing your best talent. So you can't discuss career development enough with your employees. This story that I just mentioned highlights how crucial career development communication is to retaining talent. When Kay looked at the top 20 reasons employees stick with an organization instead of seeking greener pastures elsewhere, she found that career development opportunities headed the list above even higher pay. So basically, your top performers are looking for career development over a bigger paycheck. So that's why it's important to focus on this. She says people who feel they're going to have a chance to grow are much more likely to stay with an organization, even if they get slightly more money someplace else. Despite its importance to retention, many managers give career development short shrift, finding it a perplexing and difficult chore. Now I'm going to discuss advice given by experts in this field on how to make career development conversations less difficult and more effective. First, the fear factor. Why do managers have such a hard time discussing career development? Well, for one thing, many managers have never experienced such conversations themselves and thus have no models for how to go about them. What's more, in today's fast-paced environment, many managers simply don't want to spend the time. But the biggest underlying reason managers avoid these conversations is the fear factor. According to Maggie Sullivan, Executive Vice President of Applied Research, managers are fearful that they will have to deliver a message that will be met with resistance. For instance, having to tell someone hungry for promotion that she's not ready for it. What's more, some managers fear that by helping employees grow, they may be helping them grow out of their unit. But if you resist the conversation because you fear you'll lose the person, you're probably going to lose them in any case. A talented employee who receives no encouragement from his manager to stretch and develop may believe that the manager does not value him or see his potential. Indeed, leaving may seem the most sensible option.